My atotal jaundice. Okay, cool. Paula was asking me.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Who are we missing? Elizabeth, Marco. Great. Okay, so just in terms of business, real quick, your videos are graded. Generally, nice job on those. I will have your quizzes back on Thursday. I'll be here Thursday for our class, but then I have to take a flight later Thursday, so I will be gone on Tuesday. So I'll let you know what we'll do for that. I might be able to. No, I can't Zoom in on Tuesday. We'll do something. You'll do something. And then I'm here the rest of the semester. Maybe. Any questions on anything? Yeah, me too. Just too many to even know where to start, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's just overflowing.
Great. Everyone make sure to go outside and breathe fresh air this week before it's gone. You have to walk.
Once the snow flies, the air is very fresh. But it also sucks the life out of your soul.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
You get to look out the windows.
Okay. So timpani, we've focused a lot so far on tuning and ranges of the drums, etc., which is an important thing to think about for sure. But I think we also need to spend some more time on actually playing the drums, right? Because once you get them tuned, you need to actually play. So, who wants to be my pianist?
Yes,
I was aggressively looking at
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tanner. No, it's okay.
Okay.
He was staring at me the whole time. He's like, "Who wants to be my pianist?" And just stares at me. Huh?
I'll run this side.
Nice. Okay. So. Can I get an A and a D? Unplug. That's good enough. Okay, so actually playing timpani. The good news is there's a couple things that I can tell you that are going to help a lot. Whereas with something like snare drum or mallets, I think there's a higher degree of difficulty of just building up some skills. Timpani, the challenge is, well, the big challenge is the tuning, but typically rhythms and stuff like that on timpani are not necessarily so tricky. Obviously reading the pitches takes a little bit of skill, especially because a lot of the students are never going to have read bass clef before. But the nice thing is what? You have a maximum of 4 notes. I mean, there could be tuning changes or something, but that's typically not going to be happening until maybe medium high school repertoire. All right, so you have a few years to worry about that. Okay, in terms of technique, timpanists are really crazy about technique, and people do a bunch of stuff that's honestly pretty different from playing snare drum or mallets. However, my principle is that for a beginning percussion student in middle school and even into high school, they can use the exact same grip for all the instruments. It's very close in terms of how it functions, and it's not that big of a deal to change it later on. It's usually not super relevant to what somebody's doing unless they're really studying to be a serious percussionist, maybe in college or something. Okay, and their teacher's going to change their grip at that point anyway. And you might have one of those students in your whole career, maybe, or 0, right? So I'm not going to spend a bunch of time talking to you about French timpani grip and Clevelander style and Germanic. He very quickly goes over this. The sort of short and quick version is that people say matched on timpani, same as snare drum. They call it German. It's not really what Germans do, but It's like a sort of shorthand way to say it for our purposes. And then people will say French, which essentially means thumbs up. Again, it's sort of like oversimplifying what it actually is, but so if you watch me play timpani, I do play more of a French style. My thumb up, although it's really Clevelander style, which is like an Americanized version of the French style. But whatever. Okay, the most important thing once we get our pitches is that our playing zones are good. Okay, so we have a big drum, but we really can't hit most of the drum because most of it sounds bad, right? We've talked about the middle is very dead. Okay, the number you'll hear is 3 to 4 inches away from the rim on all the drums. I actually tend to tell people 2 to 3 inches because usually people hear 4 and they play 5, and then that actually is a bad sound. You need to be closer to here. You actually get a lot more pitch and a lot less tub. Okay, so the number one thing you can do is get your students to play in good beating spots. Only a few inches away from the rim. If they play right on the rim, you get this pingy, really high thing because you're actually physically hitting the bowl. Right, like I'm actually hitting the bowl right now. So obviously you don't want to be there. But if you can just always get the students to aim for like 3 inches in, and the mallets together, or pretty close to together, you're going to be in good shape. Okay, what I see most of the time is students play too far in. Because it's a big drum, and they're kind of used to playing in the middle of the snare drum, or the middle of maybe a concert tom or something, so they just want to hit in the middle. Okay, the hard part, of course, is maintaining that when you move. Okay, so, right, making sure you're still doing it when you move up to the other drums. And this gets particularly bad with the outer drums, and that's because they tend to be positioned awkwardly, right? So it's pretty easy to play in those spots in the middle 2 drums because they're sort of right in front of us. But students are going to tend to play in weird spots on the inner and outer drums. Or, sorry, the outer drums, the far right and the far left. So think about these drums being proportional on some level. By that I mean that people will say whatever, like 3 inches away from the rim. It's somewhat proportional to the drum. So you have a little more room on the largest drum and a little less room on the smallest drum, right? Because the actual like percentage of the drum that sounds good is smaller. Well, the percentage is the same, but the physical space is smaller because the drum is smaller. This is proportional to the size of the circle. Math. Your eyes are very glazed over right now. I'm sorry, I'm talking about math. It's 8:06, but make sense? Okay, books open to 29A. Timpani are always hard with progression methods because we don't have like a gajillion drums to practice on. It would be nice if we had, 4 sets of timpani. We do not. We have just the one. I think we should have at least 2. When I saw Dr. Johnson's office for the first time, I was like, oh, you have 2 pianos. He's like, yeah, I teach piano lessons. I have to have 2 pianos. And I was like, how come I don't have 2 sets of timpani in my office? How come I don't have 2 marimbas in my office? Huh? How about that, Tara?
I don't make decisions here. What are you looking at me for?
I want an office big enough for that all to fit.
Just make this your office. It's good.
I should, yep.
Just put a little desk in the corner.
I definitely wouldn't get interrupted. Okay, let's just right away go to, I guess it's actually, 29A. There's a couple short exercises here with an A and a D. Sam, let's go. Let's try to rotate a lot today, so be quick to get up and use your brain.
You have the book?
Yeah, my book's here. Okay, timpani mallets. You have to buy timpani mallets. Don't use yarn mallets for marimba. Don't use vibraphone mallets. Don't use snare drum sticks. Please God, don't use snare drum sticks. Use timpani mallets. There's soft, there's medium, there's hard. Okay, Sam, let's do number 2. You see that?
Yes. Oh, I don't like this.
You're really tall. Why don't you try sitting on that stool?
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I saw a picture the other day of there's like the guy who's the timpanist for the New York Philharmonic for like 50 years from the 20s to the 70s. His name is Saul Goodman, as like same as Better Call Saul, except for he was first. Yeah, that was his real name. But he was like a very influential teacher in sort of American timpani playing. A lot of his students ended up getting jobs and then sort of, forming the next generation. And he played standing up, and I just saw a picture of him playing the other day, and I was like, of course he stood up. He's like this tall, okay? I'm not making fun of people for being short. I'm not particularly tall. But, if you're really short, timpani are a fine height for you. If you're tall, like Sam, or like my teacher from undergrad is a timpanist, and he's 6'3". Like he can't stand up and play timpani. It's awful. So. Don't look at me, look at the drum.
He's not very nice.
What?
He's not very
The
nice.
drum? Okay, good. Play slightly farther away from the rim. I like that you played too close. Good, and I like that he's really shifting his whole body right from left to right when he goes from one drum to the other. Play number 4 now.
Can I do this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's very good. You're better than any 6th grade beginning percussionist I've ever had.
Yippee.
Okay, so do you notice I liked what he did? I would do the same thing. He kept one hand on the right drum, one hand on the left drum, because pitches go back and forth. Stickings are weird with timpani because it's some combination of, it's not like snare drum where it's all in one drum, but it's not like mallets where you have a bunch of pitches everywhere and you're trying to get out of your own way. Sometimes you are trying to get out of your own way, but there's only 4 drums, but they're also very spread apart. So sometimes stickings can get awkward to figure out just because it's physically hard to get your body from maybe the high drum to the low drum or something. Okay, Ella, let's go. Ella. I'm sure everyone appreciates that.
I did.
What'd you say?
I have a chip in my mouth.
You have something in your mouth?
A chip in her mouth.
Oh, okay. It's fine. I'm used to talking to kids with chips in their mouth. Sorry, I forgot. You're an adult. Okay, let's do number 2 again, Ella.
Oh, yours is laid out different.
Yeah, the OG version. Good. Okay, let's do number 6.
Okay.
It's going to be okay. Don't go too far in. Look at your beating spots. Great. Tanner, let's go. Okay, so people, I think I've used these terms as we've gone, but I don't know if I've actually explicitly defined them, but people will say, watch your beating spots. Maybe that sounds really weird, but that's just what we say. That's just like where you're hitting the drum or the bar, like marimba bar, whatever. Watch your beating spots, or playing zone is, I guess, the slightly more. Do number 4. Okay, good. What did you notice? Did you? That's not what I was pointing out. Play it again. Listen to the balance between the hands.
Oh, no.
Don't do anything differently. Okay, so there's 2 reasons for that. One is because, are you right-handed? So just like everything else we've done this semester, your right hand is your dominant hand and you want to play louder, just like snare drum, just like mallets, whatever. So that's part of it. The other thing is the low drums don't ever speak as well. So when you're playing a lot between two drums, you typically have to like bring out the lower drum, regardless of which hand you're using. So if I was playing this, I would just literally be thinking about playing like 15% louder with my left hand. Do it one more time. Cool. Alexis, let's go. Okay, how would you describe the hardness of these mallets? Does anyone know? Are they soft? Are they medium? Are they hard?
They seem pretty medium-ish.
They're like medium soft, I would say. So one thing I'll just say as far as buying mallets, the sort of like standard thing everybody buys in America is it's basically some version of this, the Vic Firth T1 General. These are fine. My only problem with these is that they're not actually general mallets, they're basically soft mallets. So I find that you almost always need to go one step harder to play most band rep. Those are nice if you're playing like a more of a ballady type thing where there's rolls and you want some softer playing. But anyway, okay, Alexis, let's do number 2.
I can't tell if I like to sit or stand.
Good, let's do number 8. Okay, really good. So you have to think about which hand you're leading with on stickings, right? So right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay, a lot of it just has to do with, is it the pitch on your left side or right side? You can do things like crosses. We'll talk a little bit about that, but that's hard for beginning students to do for sure, and it shouldn't come up too much in an early rep. Tara, let's go.
I'm short, I'll say it. Okay.
It's all good, man. Number 4.
Number 4. Okay.
Thank you. 1, 2, ready, go.
Whoops.
Why'd you say whoops?
Because I got scared.
You got scared.
And I like backed way off. And I didn't
Yeah.
actually.
Did we hear the we hear that again?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, let's try different mallets. Grab something harder.
Okay. So like visuals? Question mark? No softer. I knew that.
Just try something.
Just try something? That's not cool, man.
Oh, those ones are so cute.
I don't know.
Just try it. What's the worst that could happen?
Break all drums.
They're all...
The worst that could happen is it sounds worse.
Well, that's true. I guess. Same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think? It makes a pretty big difference in terms of articulation and clarity, right?
Yeah.
So you can see how if you're playing something that's super rhythmic, something like that, it would be really hard to play with sort of those general, which I think are kind of actually just soft timpani mallets, right? There are plenty of times when you actually need something much harder for it to be articulate. And pretty much all early timpani music is actually supposed to be played with really articulate mallets. Like if you're playing like Mozart, which I know you're not going to be programming Mozart with your middle school bands, but I'm just saying, if you're playing Mozart and you're playing timpani, you pretty much always play with wood sticks, actually, because the style is like so much more articulate. You always play with the trumpet players. That's the whole thing. There's only 2 pitches. The person who got to play the timpani in 1792 was just like a violinist who couldn't hear anymore, and they were like, let's get Gerhard back on the tubs. Okay. Grady. Excuse me? That's exactly right. All right, Grady, let's do 6. Okay, good. Sticks?
Use a harder stick.
Maybe let's try a harder stick.
Do the smarty sucker
I'm sorry.
These ones?
Yeah.
Those ones.
I'm sorry, did my face stop?
They're a little soft, yeah.
What? Too soft?
Yeah.
You got these little stoppers on
Do you have
that.
snare drumsticks lying around there?
I did
Yeah.
not like that.
Cool. So maybe something in between. So this is sort of like the hardest stick you can play before you get to wood. Okay. Yeah. So there are like wooden timpani sticks, and then this is some kind of felt or whatever. But I would call that like an ultra staccato mallet. Use something slightly like the ones Tara used a minute ago are probably good.
Do I just go again?
Yep.
All right.
Cool. All right. Maddie.
That was so good.
Hey.
These things are really getting in my way a lot. And they're so weird looking. It's like a hairy parch instrument or something.
The big, like, I don't know, plumbing tube looking things with the wood.
Nice. Let's do 4.
Not me literally staring at this.
Okay, good. Is there anything you would change?
You're not gonna hurt us.
I'm looking at you guys. You're the teachers.
I would slide back just a little bit.
Yeah, you're a little too close, which makes it hard to. You kept a good distance from the rim, but we really want to keep it in sort of this front zone above the. Basically, where the pedal is, we want to be above the pedal.
Try it again.
Yes, thank you. Okay, good. Did you hear that like first hit on the left hand sounded kind of weird all of a sudden? Okay, there's a reason for that, which is that. So, timpani mallets are typically made of felt, right? That's the material that's wrapped around the fork. It's kind of hard to see, but can you see there's actually a little black dot?
Mm-hmm.
A little black dot on each of the mallet. Okay, so that black dot is actually where the seam is sewed. Not all mallets have this. Different mallets have different kinds of wraps. So this one, the seam is down on the bottom, so there is no seam around. Okay, if there's a seam on the mallet itself, people mark it with a black dot because it sounds different than the rest of the mallet, so you avoid playing on that part of the mallet. When I'm playing, because I play Clevelander style, I like it to be basically exactly in line with my thumb so that I know that I'm not playing on it. So, for online people, you can see there's a little black dot here on the stick. If you're just playing match grip, you can do the same thing where you basically just make sure it's facing you so that you're not going to hit it. Number 8.
That little teeny tiny black dot is okay.
Mm-hmm.
That very, very small.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see what else we have. These are helpful for getting a sense of. Thank you, Maddie.
Please.
Okay, let's switch over to page 30A/31A.
Can I sneak behind you really fast?
Across the bedroom.
No, actually, let's switch over to 32A. 32A. What are we doing now? We don't. All right, so. Everything on that page, right, was basically just a D and an A between two drums. So on page 32A, we've looked at this before because it shows ranges for drums, but let's dig into this a little bit more. So first of all, sorry, I'm thinking. Let's just start with number one. We'll do this quickly. So we have a B flat and an E flat. Who wants to come tune? Izzy's avoiding eye contact. Changed my system. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, though. Just kick this thing for the 6th time. We're just gonna move it over here.
Sounds good.
Closer to the edge. That's good.
Oh, I'm doing two.
Yeah.
Oh, what was
B
the
flat
second?
and E flat.
Did not even.
Okay, good. So this is for number one on page 32A, right? So you have a B flat and an E flat. Izzy just sort of automatically put it on the middle two drums, which is fine. That's where I would put them as well. In theory, could we do it somewhere else? You could do what?
The upper two.
Yeah. In theory, you could. If I have a B flat and an E flat, I'm certainly going to put them on the middle two drums. However, also I've played timpani for a long time, so it's easy for me to know that. But again, just know there's typically options. You got to think through what your options are. Okay, looking at number one, what kind of sticks do we think she might want to use? Eli, any thoughts? Harder, yeah. So I don't want to get into the habit that anytime you have anything rhythmic, you should use harder sticks, but for this sort of writing where there's just doing a bunch of 16th notes and stuff, I would typically use a harder stick. Yeah. Some of it has to do, of course, with the musical context that we're playing in, right? But usually if I'm playing daga-daga-don, it's a more rhythmic, something's happening with the rest of the group. Okay, can we hear some number one?
That was really bad.
It wasn't really bad.
It kind of was.
Okay, good. What feedback do we have?
I personally would do something harder hearing it. I don't know. Timpani just sounds washy to me all the time, so.
Yeah, it is kind of a washy instrument. Okay, so maybe we could use a harder stick. Still, what about just playing technique? There's nothing we needed to change? Nothing? Anyone? Bueller?
I was reading the music, I'm sorry.
Okay. Izzy, you're doing great. You're playing too close to the middles of the drums. And I was watching. I know a lot of you were looking at the music. However, if I had my eyes closed, I would have also been able to tell you that you're playing too close to the middles of the drums because I can hear the difference. So, play significantly closer to the edge. The hard part is to remember that as we go, right? It's typically easy to be like, okay, I'm ready. My whatever you guys do on your other instruments is good. My embouchure, right? That's the thing you do. My embouchure is great, and then in measure 6 it sucks. Does this happen?
Yes.
Right. Okay, same thing. Wow, look at me, so good with analogies. Already too close to the middle. Okay, definitely better, right?
Because I'm not looking at them, so I don't know where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of it, right? If you're not looking at it, it's hard to tell where you're playing, and as you obviously practice and get used to the music, it's easier to not look at the music all the time, and also as you just practice the instrument more, it's easier to know where you're playing on the instrument without having to look at it all the time. Can you do it once loudly, or just not super softly?
I got lost, sorry.
Good. Okay. Who hasn't gone? Eli.
Go Eli, yeah.
Clap on, clap off. I don't know what's happening. Okay, Eli, if I said we're going to do number 2. Okay, what pitches do you have, first of all?
A and C.
We have an A and a C. Where would we put those 2 notes? Where could we put the A?
It could be on either the 32 or the 29.
32 or the 29. And where could we put the C?
On either the 26 or the 23, so I do the middle ones.
You cannot put that C on a 23.
No. Oh yeah, that's right. It's just out of it. Okay, so
Yeah,
just
you could do it on the 29. It would be actually the highest pitch in the range, or you could do it on the 26. So basically, your options are doing the lowest 2 or the middle 2. What should we try?
The middle two.
What are the advantages to each? Anyone?
They're both close together.
If you put them in the middle too, you're in the middle of the range, so it's probably gonna sound better.
Okay, ish. So remember, we want to be sort of in the middle or upper range of the drums. So actually, if I have an A and a C, sound-wise, I would tend to, it depends a little bit on the drums, but I would tend to think it's going to sound better on the 32 and the 29. However, the 29 and the 26 are right in front of you. And so if that's a serious consideration of like, let's just make it easier for the student to play the 2 drums that are right in front of them, then I would probably just put them there. Especially if I'm worried about them looking at the conductor, the band director. Okay. So let's put them on the middle 2. So can we have an A? Yep, brought it all the way down. Good. I think you're sharp. I would restart. You're flat now. Bring it up a little more, a little more. That's close enough. Let's say that's our A. Can we get a C? You're getting sharp. Now you're sharp. Okay, let's hear melodically. What do we think? This many flat.
Just bother me.
6 cents.
Yeah, 6.5 cents for right there. So. Okay, so maybe bring the bottom drum up just a smidge, just about 5 cents. That was too much. Yeah, now let's hear A to C. Okay, that's better. Can I hear them harmonically now?
Let's stick to my head. Use the same. Yeah.
Okay, pretty good. Yeah. Just a quick thing. Eli was like, "What's 6? Do I have the same one?" Just, usually they're going to have some sort of model number on the stick. So this happens to be the CT3. I don't know what that is. I don't use these sticks, but that's fine. We're just making sure that they're matched, right? So there's a lot of times when I see students not playing with a matched pair of sticks, or also what happens, again, that's too much of this, students are in the timpani mallets, and they have like 4 different pairs of those Vic Firth generals that are in various states of a kid has ripped them apart, and they're just using 2 different ones. And I'm like, these were not made in the same decade. The branding changed. That's a problem. So, try to make sure they're matched. Also, turn your amplifiers off when you're done. Okay, so number 2, right?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
That was the wrong note.
Okay, so what gets tricky about this one?
They're both in spaces and they're really close together. And I have bad eyes.
You have glasses.
They're the wrong prescription.
Okay. What gets tricky about this one, everyone?
There's a quick switch to a note that.
Yeah, there's quicker switches between the drums, and it doesn't lay as well. The other stuff sort of purposely laid it out to where you could just, it was kind of hard to mess up the stickings, but this one, especially in the second half, right, you have da 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 da. So he wrote out the stickings actually that would work for this, but if you don't do those correctly, for example, in the very last bar, the sticking is 2 lefts in a row on the low drum so that you can start the 16 notes on the right hand on the high drum. Yeah, but if you don't do that, if you do a right hand, then all of a sudden you have to do a weird double between one drum to the other. So can you do just the second half, Eli?
Like
Measures 3 and 4.
okay.
Starting, yeah. Good. Okay. Has everyone gone at least once? Jaden. I like how you seem surprised, even though I literally just asked.
I'm not surprised.
Okay, let's do the same one. Number 2, as in 2.
Number 2 as in 2.
Yep.
So much harder to see the music.
What do you mean it's so much harder to see the music?
I don't know, I sit with my stand like right here, so.
Ah, yes. Okay, so I don't know if you've picked up on this, but one of my missions in teaching percussion methods is fostering a sense of empathy for the percussionist, for the percussionist in the wild. It's been hard for us. But one of the many silly challenges that we're constantly dealing with is our stands being in weird places that are not that close to our eyes. So you could actually just move the stand closer. It's one thing that nobody has thought about doing.
Oh, hey.
You could do that. I don't like to stand that close because it bothers me and I can see it fine because my
Eyes
prescription
don't
is, well, my eyes do suck when my contact prescription I believe is up to date. Well, it's been a year.
I really thought you were about to be like, 20/20 vision. I was going to be like,
I do not have 20/20 vision. You want to play?
Not really, but I guess I have to.
Let's do it. Number 2.
Ah.
Whoa.
Yes. Okay. So on measure 3, what's important sticking wise that happens? Ella.
Do it right.
Yes. Yeah, you have to get your right hand from the A up to the C. So as long as you start with your right hand on the A, you should be fine, right? But you might not do that because you were on the C a second ago, and now you have to do something that's on your left side. So you might want to start with your left hand, but really you need to start with your right hand. Okay, so it's the kind of thing that it's actually not that complicated, but when I say it out loud, all the things you're thinking about, you realize like, oh, it is actually kind of complicated. Again, fostering empathy for the percussionists in the wild. Should we try starting on measure 3?
Yes.
Good. Let's do 3 and 4 one more time. So one thing you started to do just on accident, but it's a good thing to point out, is like basically a couple doubles on a place where it's too fast. It's very hard to do doubles on timpani unless it's sort of like a slow, like if it's a quarter note or something or a half note, you can do 2 left hands or 2 right hands in a row. But once we get to faster rhythms, it's really hard to do it well on timpani. You can do it on snare drum, you can sometimes do it on mallets even, but on timpani what happens is, it's what I call the trampoline bounce steel, right? We've all been on a trampoline at some point. You guys know about these here? And, you know, when somebody else jumps and you steal their bounce when they come back down. Sam, you know about this, right? You've stolen a bounce, I'm sure. Okay, that same effect, I don't know what the scientific reasoning behind it is, but that same thing happens on timpani where if you do the second hand at a weird time, you can like steal the bounce from the first one and actually like really messes with the sound and the bounce. For some reason, it's worse when you do 2 of the same hand in a row versus using the other hand. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like we're looking at me a little bit like I'm insane. I'm not sure if it's me or if it's you.
It's a me thing. 8 a.m.s are not my jam, man.
Okay, great. Let's all get up. Let's all stand up. All right. Sam, let's all stand up. We're going to go. Let's do it. You're music ed majors. Ready, set. Okay, who's up next? Tanner.
Yeah.
How does music education correlate to
You guys do silly stuff.
Am I doing the same thing?
You're going to do number 3. Aren't you guys used to doing silly things?
No. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so number 3, what's the situation?
Octaves.
Octave what? What pitch? Octave Fs.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's a dumb way to ask that. Okay, so where could we put these notes?
This one or this one? Or this one and this one? Do you want me to say the numbers? 32, 26, 29, 26, 29, 23.
Okay, cool. So we're in this weird situation where we have these octave Fs, and we could actually do it on sort of any combination of drums. So, if this is all you're playing, where would you put it? I would put it in the middle too, because it's going to be very hard to go back and forth between the outer 2 drums. But let's try this. Let's tune 4 Fs. Let's tune all the Fs. Can we get a low F, Tara? So the very bottom of the range is an F for this drum, which is actually kind of bad that when the pitch is all the way down, it's tuned to an F. Put it all the way down, Tanner. Yeah. And that's actually still sharp, right?
Yeah.
So, try again. Better. That's a pro move.
Are these ones? Did you tune these ones?
I tuned them.
Cool.
If you're a pro, you're allowed to push real hard in the middle.
Is that because you're getting rid of extra air inside?
No, I just made it a little bit lower by stretching the head out.
Okay.
That gives the same energy as like pinching strings.
Pinching and pulling.
Once you guys pass advanced percussion methods, then you can do that. What semester do we offer advanced percussion methods?
Literally never.
Dang it.
I get it.
I'm actually busy at that time.
It's a 7 a.m. on Saturdays, Sundays.
Sure. Right.
You're so funny if you think I'd do that. You're so funny.
You're so funny if you think I'd do that. Okay, so let's do number 3. Let's do the middle 2 drums.
I'm sorry, that sounded really bad.
Let's do it.
I don't like how it sounds.
Well, you win some, you lose some. Let's go. Okay, not bad. Okay, so that's one way to do it. And now let's try it with the outer drums.
Like out here?
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah. So right away it's awkward, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's play it. Okay, so what happened?
You missed the drum.
It missed the drum. Why?
Because
It's so far.
It's like 5 feet away, right? And you had to move your whole body to get to it. Can you try just playing the last measure? Do the last measure, yeah. Yeah, so it is possible, but it's kind of awkward. So this is a good example. Well, first of all, which sounded better? The outer two definitely sounded better, right? So the F sounds like poo on that drum. Let's try it now, the 32 and the 26 while we're at it. Great. Okay, I know we're out of time. If we get out of time and you realize that I'm over, you can always just politely let me know.
that's enjoyable.
What's up?
Yeah.
There you go, I tuned into the middle for you.